It's 6 o'clock. We start tonight with a major update on the health of the Princess of Wales. The Princess has announced she's receiving treatment for cancer. Kate says the abdominal surgery she had in January was successful and at the time her condition was believed to be non-cancerous. However, tests carried out after that operation have revealed the presence of cancer, and Kate started a course of preventative chemotherapy late last month. Now, tonight, she has released a personal video message which we can bring to you now.
I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery. It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family, but I've had a fantastic medical team who have taken great care of me, for which I'm so grateful. In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present. My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy, and I'm now in the early stages of that treatment. This, of course, came as a huge shock, and William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately for the sake of our young family. As you can imagine, this has taken time. It has taken me time to recover from major surgery in order to start my treatment. But most importantly, it has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte and Louis in a way that's appropriate for them and to reassure them that I'm going to be okay. As I've said to them, I am well and getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal in my mind, body and spirits. Having William by my side is a great source of comfort and reassurance too, as is the love, support and kindness that has been shown by so many of you. It means so much to us both. We hope that you'll understand that as a family, we now need some time, space and privacy while I complete my treatment. My work has always brought me a deep sense of joy, and I look forward to being back when I'm able. But for now, I must focus on making a full recovery. At this time, I'm also thinking of all those whose lives have been affected by cancer. For everyone facing this disease, in whatever form, please do not lose faith or hope. You are not alone.
A video message from the Princess of Wales released in the last few moments. Well, our royal correspondent, Laura Bundock, and our science correspondent, Thomas Moore, are both with me in the studio. Laura, this is desperately sad news, isn't it, about Kate? What do you make of what the Princess just had to say?
I think it's incredibly brave of her to come out and make a public statement in this way. She recorded this video in Windsor on Wednesday. It was certainly not the news we were expecting to hear. We always knew there would be a long recovery period after her abdominal surgery in the middle of January, and we were told we weren't to be expected to see her on engagements this side of Easter. And as you know, there has been a huge amount of pressure on her. During her absence, this void has been created that, as we've been saying, ad infinitum it feels, was filled with the wild speculation, the conspiracy theories online. But now we know what Kate has known for some time. We know she found out about this after those tests confirmed following her surgery that she did have cancer, that she began this course of chemotherapy at the end of February. We don't know what kind of cancer she has. We don't know what stage of cancer. This is all her private medical information. But I think the fact she is sharing this now is, of course, serious news and a significant moment as well. We understand the reason the decision's been taken to go public. It is very much connected to the children. I mean, as a person, she clearly needed the time to herself come to terms with a diagnosis and recover from that surgery and then, of course, start her treatment. But I think throughout this whole process, the three children have been their absolute priority, and they wanted to make sure that the time was right when they did tell them and to allow them the space to be able to fully understand and process this news before it went public. And of course, the children have now broken up from school for the Easter holidays. They're all off together now for at least 3 weeks, and I think that's why the couple felt this was the right time to go public.
And do we know any more about how she feels about those conspiracy theories? I mean, the internet has been wild with them for weeks. Part of this will be trying to put that to bed and move on.
Certainly. I mean, she has been under the most extraordinary pressure, and we now know what she was also going through at the same time, which is coming to terms with a diagnosis, having to recover from major abdominal surgery, and then, of course, start preventative chemotherapy as well, and at the same time making sure her children were OK as well. It's been a very difficult time for her and, of course, the Prince of Wales. We know he's been incredibly frustrated, and understandably so, by the amount of online speculation, the rumours that got so out of hand, didn't they? And I feel we understand that Prince William's focus very much now on Kate, on his family, but he will be, we understand, returning to work after the Easter holidays. We wouldn't be expecting to see him actually in the next few weeks, but he will be returning to work, but very much managing and making sure that he can do everything he can to support Kate while she undergoes this treatment. Yeah,
well, in the last few moments, the Prime Minister has released a statement. Let me just bring that to you. My thoughts are with the Princess of Wales, Prince of Wales, the royal family, and in particular her 3 children at this difficult time. The Princess of Wales has the love and support of the whole country as she continues her recovery. She has shown tremendous bravery with her statement today. In recent weeks, she has been subjected to intense scrutiny and has been unfairly treated by certain sections of the media around the world and on social media. Rishi Sunak goes on to say, when it comes to matters of health, like everyone else, she must be afforded the privacy to focus on her treatment and be with her loving family. I know I speak for the whole country in wishing her a full and speedy recovery and look forward to seeing her back in action when she's ready. That statement coming from the Prime Minister. Laura, interesting, isn't it, that he talked about how unfairly treated she's been?
Yeah, and I think now you can look back and sort of understand, you know, that the pressure, as I say, had been absolutely immense on her. I think I think it stemmed from a positive place, and that there was genuine concern when she, as one of the most photographed women in the world, was out of the spotlight for so long. As I say, it felt like it gave an audience to the conspiracy theorists, but now we know that she was really dealing with something serious and sort of having had to undergo this surgery, which we know was major abdominal surgery, which in itself required a huge amount of strength to get through, to then process the cancer diagnosis and then start the course of preventative treatment. That is a lot. I mean, this news, I think, will come as a real shock, I think, to people, and without doubt can put to bed, hopefully, for the last time, the rumours, because here we have a young mum undergoing cancer treatment. She's a very high-profile person. She's Princess of Wales, but she is, of course, a mum to 3 young children, and they need her support hugely at the moment. And I know Prince William, we understand, is very much focused on giving that support as much as he can to his family, while obviously having to carry on with his work too.
Yeah, of course, it does answer some of those questions that people have been pondering over recent weeks. Thomas Moore, our science correspondent, also with us here. Just explain, Thomas, what preventative chemo actually means.
Yeah, let me just take you through that statement, because there's lots of things that I think we need to highlight so people really understand what Kate is going through. They said that at the time of the major abdominal surgery, it was thought that it was non-cancerous. Whatever she and her doctors didn't like was clearly removed during the procedure, and then it's sent off for a biopsy. That's when they do tests on the cells, and that's when they would have discovered that it was, after all, cancerous. Then they are now talking about preventative chemotherapy in case there are any other cells that were left behind after the removal of what was taken out during surgery itself, to make sure that those aren't the seeds of a cancer that grows back. That's the whole idea of chemotherapy. Now, we don't know what the cancer is. We don't know what the treatment is, and some chemotherapies can be very difficult to take. The side effects can be quite brutal. Not always, but can be. And that is, I think, why we have to give huge understanding to Kate and what the family is going through now. You can hear, too, the mental anguish for her and Prince William and the children too, that this is an awful lot to process. Cancer is still the C word, the diagnosis that nobody wants to hear, that it is still very difficult to take, even though the treatments have got much, much better, that the outlook is much better than it ever has been before. It is still the dreaded diagnosis, and it takes time to process yourself, but also to find the words to explain it to very young children. And many people would have been through that process, can understand how difficult this has been for her and for William too.
Yeah, she reflected on that, didn't she, in that statement, saying, I'm also thinking of all those whose lives have been affected by cancer. For everyone facing this disease in whatever form, please do not lose faith or hope. You are not alone. Rather lovely, those words at the end. And of course, also, Thomas, we don't know what stage the cancer is at. The timing of all of this is quite vague.
Absolutely. One would hope that, given that the surgeons initially, based on what information they had before the operation and by looking at the material that was removed, would have been reasonably confident this was a fairly early stage. But they will be doing further tests just to be sure that there hasn't been any spread and so on. And that is to the purpose of chemotherapy, that you can mop up any cells wherever they are, and hopefully they are still local to the original tumour. Yeah,
also hearing from the First Minister of Wales, Vaughan Gething, saying deeply saddened to hear the news about Her Royal Highness the Princess of Wales. On behalf of people across Wales, I would like to send our love and support to the Princess and her family at this very difficult time. All of our thoughts are with you as you continue your treatment. Vaughan Gething, the First Minister of Wales. Let's have a listen once again then to that video statement from the Princess of Wales.
I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery. It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family, but I've had a fantastic medical team who have taken great care of me, for which I'm so grateful. In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present. My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy, and I'm now in the early stages of that treatment. This, of course, came as a huge shock, and William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately for the sake of our young family. As you can imagine, this has taken time. It has taken me time to recover from major surgery in order to start my treatment. But most importantly, it has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte and Louis in a way that's appropriate for them and to reassure them that I'm going to be okay. As I've said to them, I am well and getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal in my mind, body and spirits. Having William by my side is a great source of comfort and reassurance too, as is the love, support and kindness that has been shown by so many of you. It means so much to us both. We hope that you'll understand that as a family, we now need some time, space and privacy while I complete my treatment. My work has always brought me a deep sense of joy, and I look forward to being back when I'm able. But for now, I must focus on making a full recovery. At this time, I'm also thinking of all those whose lives have been affected by cancer. For everyone facing this disease, in whatever form, please do not lose faith or hope. You are not alone.
The Princess of Wales there announcing that she is receiving treatment for cancer. That was her video message. While commenting on the announcement, NHS Chief Executive Amanda Pritchard has said the following. On behalf of the NHS, I'm really sorry to hear this shocking news. Our thoughts are with the Princess of Wales and the royal family, especially while her treatment continues. We know how difficult a diagnosis and treatment journey can be for patients and their families. Speaking out about it is really brave, and it can help others to get worrying signs and symptoms checked. That comment from the NHS Chief Executive Amanda Pritchard. Well, joining me now is the royal commentator Jenny Bond. Jenny, thank you for being with us this evening. What went through your mind when you watched and listened to that video message?
Two things, really. What a courageous young woman she is. How very brave to make a video message like that. She didn't have to, but she did that partly because I think of all the ridiculous, absurd theories that have been going around on the internet. And that really is my second thought. It is that I hope that those social media trolls who have peddled such ghastly, hurtful theories will now realise what they've done and be absolutely ashamed of themselves. And I hope we'll all take pause for thought and not be led by the nose by what goes on social media. But I think we should think, what a brave young woman. She obviously has got a bit of a battle ahead. She's just been trying to keep her family together, keep her thoughts together, look after those precious children. And my heart absolutely goes out to her. And I think that everyone's estimation of her will go sky high now.
She absolutely has a right, doesn't she, to privacy, especially over sensitive medical issues. But do you think the palace have made this decision because of all that pressure you mentioned, because of those online trolls?
Yes, probably. And I don't think she should ever have felt that she was required to go sit in front of a camera and make a statement about her health. But I think that she has been pressured by the media into doing that. But she is a strong woman. I mean, I think we look on the very bright side here. She says she's going to be okay. She's getting stronger every day. She's looking forward to getting back to work, but she needs more time. She'll obviously need quite a lot of time. I thought that she looked as beautiful as ever, rather pale. And obviously the chemotherapy is going to take its toll. But her absolute priority will be those children. And just think what they've all been going through in these past few weeks. Think of William going out and doing his work, taking on some of his father's burden of work as well, doing it as cheerfully as he can, and then going home, hopefully to get his kids from school and comfort his wife. What pressure the man has been under. And he just took one tiny day off, which was essentially a private engagement service for ex-King Constantine, and he got really massacred for that. You know, why did you pull out? I just feel the whole family's been under such pressure, and her parents as well have been going through it, obviously. I think we absolutely must give them all now the time and space, and as much time and space as they want and need.
And of course, we have seen those allegations of her medical records being looked at. We saw the huge row over the doctoring of that photograph as well. And I mean, this will help people understand perhaps why she felt the need to do that.
Well, you know, I'm sure she must feel assaulted from all sides. And I think we as a society should feel utterly ashamed of ourselves, actually. This is a woman who has had a major setback at the prime of life. And we have not treated her with the kindness that she deserves. And I think we should take stock of that and forthwith be as kind as we possibly can to her. She's a very brave young woman.
And we now have a situation, of course, Jenny, where two senior members of the royal family, the King and the Princess of Wales, both announcing that they have cancer, both undergoing treatment at the same time.
Yes, it's a very extraordinary situation, a very sad situation for the family. But I'm sure they will gain some strength from one another, actually. The King and Catherine have always been very close, full of admiration, one for the other. and they're going through this together. So I suppose that may be some comfort to them. And what we must do now is let them do that and gather their strength and get on with their recovery.
Of course, and for other members of the royal family, well, they will be rallying round as they have with the King and stepping up when it comes to their royal duties and helping out where necessary.
Yeah, and you've got pictures there of Queen Camilla, and I think hats off to her as well, because she's been taking on a really heavy workload and travelling all over the place, Northern Ireland, the Isle of Man, around the country, and all the time knowing that her husband's going through treatment, and knowing as well what Catherine's been going through, and seeing the pressure that whole family has been under. So I think she's been doing a fantastic job, and we must admire her for it.
OK, Jenny, many thanks as always. Jenny Bond, royal commentator there, thank you. We've just had reaction from Sir Keir Starmer, who says the following: on behalf of the whole Labour Party, I want to send my very best wishes to Her Royal Highness at this distressing time. Our thoughts are with the whole royal family as they come to terms with the news and as they support the Princess of Wales through her treatment and recovery. Any cancer diagnosis is shocking, but I can only imagine the added stress of receiving that news amid the lurid speculation we've seen in recent weeks. Their Royal Highnesses are entitled to privacy and, like any parents, will have waited to choose the right moment to tell their children. I'm heartened by the Princess of Wales's optimistic tone and her message of faith and hope. Her Royal Highness will be in our thoughts and prayers as she progresses through her treatment with the love and support of not just her whole family, but the whole nation too. That is Sir Keir Starmer, leader of the Labour Party. Well, our royal correspondent Laura Bundock is here, also our science correspondent Thomas Moore. Interesting what Jenny was saying there, Laura, mentioning that moment where William came under the spotlight for missing that memorial service, and we were told it was a personal matter, but this could well have been it.
Yeah, we will never know the reasons for that. But, we just don't know simply. But you get a real sense, I think, of how much there has been on the whole family there, really. They've had to go through an awful amount. I mean, I think the news that she had had this major abdominal surgery in January was big news. And this, a cancer diagnosis, a course of chemotherapy, is a real shock. And I'm just blown away, I think, by the bravery, I think, of the Princess of Wales to sit there this week in Windsor and record a message looking relaxed. I think her voice felt like it was faltering at times.
It did a bit, didn't it? I thought that, yeah.
Understandably, though, because she's had to have some really difficult conversations. Not conversations about her health with her medical team, but, of course, conversations with her family, too. We know she's incredibly close to her parents, to her two siblings, but, of course, the three children. And we understand, like any parent, they've been the absolute priority over the last few weeks, and that the reason I think this news is being released and shared now is very much the right moment in terms of making sure the children had had the time to come to terms with that news themselves, to be able to understand it as much as you can when, they're sort of 10 and under, aren't they? And to be able to process it, ask the questions that children do before it's public, before they're then back in the classroom with everyone talking about it, because we understand that's what's been happening. I mean, children are children, and it's very, very difficult for them. So the Prince and Princess of Wales wanting to focus on their children, getting the message to them, making sure they understood this. And Kate saying in that video as well, she wanted to be able to explain to the three kids that she is going to be okay. She says there, I am well, I'm getting stronger every day. She's focusing on the things that will help her heal her mind, her body, her spirits. So she is obviously feeling positive. She wanted to get that across to the children, but waited until today because the children broke up from school. They're off school for over 3 weeks now. So there's a proper period where they will come together as a family. We wouldn't expect to see them on any engagements throughout the Easter holidays anyway, but you would hope they will spend the right amount of time that they need to spend together, looking after each other, supporting each other, and answering those questions. Because children will ask questions, and they will have to find the words and the way to address all the things that must be going through their minds as well.
And initially, of course, when we heard about the princess's illness, we were told that she'd be back at work, back carrying out royal duties after Easter. Clearly, that's not going to happen. And in fact, we've not had any time frame, have we? We don't know how long her treatment will take. We don't know at what stage her treatment is at. And we certainly don't know when she may feel like returning in whatever form to public life.
No, I mean, we were always told that her return to public duties after the abdominal surgery would be based on medical advice taken at the time. So we were told that probably won't be before Easter. Now, clearly, things have changed since then. I mean, we understand, though, that when she says there that how the work that she does do gives her this deep sense of joy. She was very saddened, we were told, when she had to cancel engagements sort of from January onwards. I would have thought she will want to carry on with the work as much as possible. I met some of the health visitors she's been supporting in a project that's really close to her. And I know, speaking to the team there, that she was kept up to date with the latest on that project. So I think behind the scenes, she's being kept abreast of the work. I mean, her early years' work, it will be her life's work. This is the cause that she really, really cares about. As to when she'll be able to return to work, then clearly it is right that she has this time and space and the privacy to recover, so that decision can be made when the time is right for her.
Interesting, Thomas, that in her statement she said, as she'd said to her children, George, Charlotte and Louis, I am well and getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal in my mind, body and spirits. And certainly she seemed well in that video message. Do you think that is just putting a brave face on it, or do you think she genuinely feels OK? It
may well be genuine. It probably is that people who are in the early stages of cancer feel well. It is surreal to them that they've been told that there are cancerous cells in their body that need to be dealt with, and it takes a while for it to sink in. And in many ways, the treatment may be harder to take. That the side effects of chemotherapy can be tougher. Now, chemo itself usually takes between 3 and 6 months. There will be rounds of treatments where she will be having drugs, normally through a pump straight into her veins, and that will go on round after round, and there will be periods where she's not receiving any treatment. They're waiting to see what impact those drugs are having, to give her body some time for the cells to take effect, for the drugs to take effect. But the effects can vary, because these drugs target rapidly dividing cells. That's what a cancer is. But it also can target things like rapidly growing hair follicles, the cells that produce blood, platelets and white blood cells and so on. And that is where the side effects come from. So, and that is what does take time, that they can't go too hard, too fast, just so that she can still function as a person.
Yeah, it can be really debilitating, can't it? Thomas, thank you. Professor Pat Price, oncologist and founder of the Catch Up with Cancer campaign, has said that I'm sure everyone will admire the fact that the Princess of Wales has chosen to speak so openly and frankly about her situation. And as Jenny and Laura have been reflecting, she goes on to say this announcement is a stark and shocking reminder that cancer is no respecter of age or social status. If you're just joining us, the news this evening that the Princess of Wales is receiving treatment for cancer. In the last half an hour or so, she released this video message.
I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery. It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family, but I've had a fantastic medical team who have taken great care of me, for which I'm so grateful. In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present. My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy, and I'm now in the early stages of that treatment. This, of course, came as a huge shock, and William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately for the sake of our young family. As you can imagine, this has taken time. It has taken me time to recover from major surgery in order to start my treatment. But most importantly, it has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte, and Louis in a way that's appropriate for them and to reassure them that I'm going to be okay. As I've said to them, I am well and getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal in my mind, body, and spirits. Having William by my side is a great source of comfort and reassurance too, as is the love, support, and kindness that has been shown by so many of you. It means so much to us both. We hope that you'll understand that as a family, we now need some time, space, and privacy while I complete my treatment. My work has always brought me a deep sense of joy, and I look forward to being back when I'm able. But for now, I must focus on making a full recovery. At this time, I'm also thinking of all those whose lives have been affected by cancer. For everyone facing this disease, in whatever form, please do not lose faith or hope. You are not alone.
An announcement there from the Princess of Wales. Joining me now is Dr. Carol Sikora, consultant oncologist and leading cancer specialist. Thank you very much for your time this evening. I know you've been watching that video message along with the rest of us, and you must be struck by her bravery, something which so many people have when they get this awful revelation that they are going to have treatment for cancer.
Absolutely. I mean, it's amazing how people of all sorts, from all walks of life, adapt. And, you know, what I've seen in my career, more than 40 years as a consultant, is that the way in which treatment's delivered is so much nicer now, so much more patient-friendly than it was when I began. When I was a hassled junior doctor, I'd draw up the chemotherapy myself and give it at 10 o'clock at night. Now nurses take over the chemotherapy suite, and it's really done very professionally, and she will be getting the best care possible.
And of course, cancer treatment has come on leaps and bounds, hasn't it?
It has, and what really is happening is that we can predict the right treatment for the right patient. So what's happened, she probably has colon cancer. It's not been revealed. That's the most likely but the scenario. And she's having what we call adjuvant treatment. She called it preventive treatment. Same thing, adjuvant treatment, because the risk of recurrence is high. It doesn't mean she's got recurrence. It means that the risk may be high, and the adjuvant treatment is thrown in to reduce that risk. And although it's unpleasant, all chemotherapy is not something you want to do. It is of great benefit, and lots of clinical trials over the last 20 years have shown the profound benefit of the sort of drugs that would be given to her for this purpose.
Yeah, and of course we're keen that we don't speculate on the type of cancer she has, or indeed on the treatment. That is, as you know, will be a private matter for her and her family. But what was very positive, I thought, in her statement was that she said she feels well. She feels that she's getting stronger every day. That must give you some hope.
It does, and she's got a powerful family to support her. And I think that's so important for people. They need the support of a family. The tiredness you get with it is just the constant visits to hospital, the blood tests, the x-rays, the assessment scans. All these are part of the process of chemotherapy. And it does tire you out. So a bit of joy and rest over Easter will do her a lot of good, I would imagine.
And two members of the royal family, of course, going through this together, the King as well. We know that he visited her in hospital at the same time that he was having his initial treatment as well. But they'll be getting a lot of support from each other.
They will. And, you know, that's what cancer patients find. They get support from the staff, doctors and nurses, they get support from their own family, and there's a sort of community of cancer patients. And also, she mentioned in her little speech about the mind, body, and spirit, and it's so important. It's not just the physical, getting rid of the last cancer cell to cure the disease. It's all about coming out at the end of the journey better than where you were when you went in. Some people believe you can actually grow spiritually by having cancer. I'm a bit cynical about that, but certainly she'll do well. She's the sort of personality that's positive, and she will definitely do well.
How, you talk about that community of cancer patients, how helpful is it to people who are going through something similar to know that someone as high profile as Kate is also on that journey with them?
Cancer's an absolute leveler, rich, poor, black, white, it doesn't matter. We're all going to get it. Many of us, however long you live, if you live to be 100, your risk of getting cancer is considerable. It's a sort of, we're not meant to live to be over 40, basically. Evolution of Stone Age man was different than what we have now. And now we live a long time, and cancer's part of it. Cancer Research UK calculated about 1 in 2 of us are going to get cancer in our lifetime. It's never been so high. Many of the cancers will be cured, and every year you see improvements in the quality of care, the pleasantness of care, and also the outcomes, which are getting better and better every year.
Nonetheless, for someone so young in the prime of their life to get this diagnosis is incredibly unsettling, isn't it?
It is, and I think she is a role model, and I think it was tremendous to give that little video clips because, it shows that she's an inspiration to other cancer patients that are beginning chemotherapy, that are on it, that are having radiotherapy or any other treatment for cancer. It's not the end of the world. You can get through it in many cases.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, Doctor. What sort of advice do you give to people who are beginning a treatment course about the side effects and about how to deal with them and about how to stay strong? Because often it's not the cancer making you feel unwell, but it's what they're putting in your body to kill that cancer.
It is. And the most important thing is to take lots of rest when you can, especially within the 48 hours after the chemotherapy. It's given every 2 to 3 weeks, usually, and have lots of rest, watch television, read magazines, don't try and do normal jobs. And then the other thing is looking after your spirit, looking after how you feel. Exercise is just great for cancer patients. We don't use it enough. I'm not sort of going to the gym or anything, but walking, spring's coming, walking around the park, around public footpaths, great for cancer patients. And also doing things you love, that's also important. And, simple complementary therapies can help. And I'm sure King Charles is a great believer in complementary therapies for all sorts of things. I'm sure he's doing it, and I'm sure Kate will be doing some. And massage, acupuncture, counselling, all these things help for the journey, which can be arduous for people.
Yeah, I really can. Good advice. Thank you very much, Dr. Carol Sikora, consultant oncologist and leading cancer specialist, with his thoughts. Thank you. Well, I'm joined now by Christina Kyriakou, former communications secretary to King Charles. Good to have you on the programme. What are your thoughts at this news?
Oh, hello, Jonathan. Jonathan, I have to say, I feel that the Princess of Wales has handled this with dignity and decorum. What a time for her, and explaining this to her children and making sure that they fully understand that she will get through this, that she will come through this enlightened rather than frightened, and so will they. And I just think how magnificent of her to have given that message, to appeal for privacy. Of course, there's been a little bit of a hiatus in the UK because we haven't seen her, and she is so loved and we're so used to seeing her. And as a Windsor resident myself, I know there is so much support for her and people just wishing her well, even before they heard this evening's news that she's having preventative treatment for these precancerous cells.
And do you think it will now put an end to all those awful rumours online, all that speculation, all those conspiracy theories?
I think it's very sad, Jonathan. We live in a strange world, and I would like to say that I think the British media have behaved terribly respectfully. I know there was a hiatus over the manipulation of the Mother's Day photo, but until that point, they weren't photographing the princess. They weren't going to the school. They weren't doorstepping her, or any of those things that sometimes people imagine newspapers and paparazzi are doing. And unfortunately, when conspiracy theories start online, the world is a journalist. That's not newspaper speculation. That's everybody speculating. And unfortunately, because the Princess of Wales is as known as she is, she's the most photographed woman in the world. It will start people speculating, gossiping, and around a rumour, which has been terribly difficult, I'm sure, for her and the whole family. However, she is used to that, and her main focus at the moment is her family and getting better. And I loved hearing that she is going to put a positive spin on this, and it's mind, body, and spirit. And walking, as the consultant just said, and with the spring coming, fresh air, and just relaxing and trying to take care of herself while that preventative treatment does its job.
And Christina, as a former communications secretary, how do you feel that the Palace's press office have dealt with this? We don't know the timeline as to when she found out this news, but would you have advised perhaps that this video message came out sooner to stop those conspiracy theories before they really did get out of hand?
I think the video message this evening is the video message that is timed perfectly for the Prince and Princess of Wales. They've had to get their children used to this idea and used to the fact that mummy's going through more treatment, and it will be intense and invasive treatment. And so I don't think anyone can sort of say that this should have come earlier, or you know, that we should have been kept more informed. Kensington Palace were very, very, very clear that the surgery that she was having was intense surgery, and she wouldn't be back till after Easter in any event. And they now have done an update just before Easter to say that whilst the cancer wasn't found, there are some cancerous cells, and they want preventative treatment to make sure that they do not come back. And she's been getting over that operation, as you have to do before you take any cancer treatment. And she's now stronger. She looked absolutely beautiful. And she can go into that treatment with a positive attitude, knowing that her children understand. Let's forget the world understanding. Let's just remember there's 3 youngsters, and they now have an understanding of what their mother's condition is, and that she's going to get through this.
So it may be some time, mightn't it, before we see her back in any sort of public role, and rightly so. She needs time, obviously, to recover and recuperate. What does that mean for other members of the royal family?
I think we've got used to a slimmed-down royal family while the king is undergoing his treatment, and we've also we have had time to get used to the Princess of Wales not being around, and we'll just have to weather that for a little bit longer. The one thing that I can say is that cancer treatments and preventative treatments are superb. There have been so many developments, and I know you're hearing from wonderful, learned experts on your programme, and she will get through this. I absolutely have no doubt about that whatsoever. I've had my own cancer struggles, and I know with the attitude that she's taking and the positivity, this is a preventative measure, and I feel that that word is key, a preventative measure. It's an insurance policy to make sure that those cells don't come back. And she can do a lot of other things which wonderful experts will be advising her of, whether that's juicing green, whether it's... There's so many wonderful things that one can do when one is undergoing cancer to ensure that the body is better equipped. to make sure that there is no return in the future. And I feel certain she'll be listening intently and doing her own research to make sure that she's fit for the future and as active and as wonderful as she's always been.
Yeah, and as you say, she will be listening to people such as you, cancer survivors who've been through this and have come out the other side. Christina Kirikou, former Communications Secretary to King Charles, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it. You're watching Sky News. The Princess of Wales is receiving treatment for cancer. In the last hour, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has said in a statement that Kate has shown tremendous bravery. He added in recent weeks she's been subjected to intense scrutiny and has been unfairly treated by certain sections of the media around the world and on social media. Sir Keir Starmer also sent his best wishes to the Princess at what he called a distressing time. Well, I'm joined now by Ingrid Seward, Editor-in-Chief of Majesty magazine, also author of The Queen's Speech, an intimate portrait of the Queen in her own words, a regular face on Sky News. Good to see you this evening. What did you make of what the Princess had to say?
I think what Christina, obviously, he was extremely close to the whole situation when she was working there. I think what she said was really interesting. And I gather from what she said that she had also been a cancer sufferer. And I think it's very delicate, this situation. I think because of the furore in social media over the last few days, it must have been very, very upsetting. And I think that Catherine was very brave to make the little video that she did, and it was beautifully done, and it must have been a difficult thing to have to do. And she obviously, as she said, she wanted to, let her children know first that she was going to be all right, because that's the big worry, because that's her main focus in her life. Of course, she's Princess of Wales, and she's absolutely hidebound by duty, but she's always said family first, which William has promoted. And so the whole thing has been extremely hard for her. And then I know that they don't read the trolls on social media, but they obviously become aware of what people are saying because they have to know. And I just feel that it must have been a very, very, very difficult time for her. So for her to come out and speak about it herself was very, very brave. And I'm full of admiration, as I'm sure everybody else that is interested in the monarchy will be.
And do you think it'll put an end now to those trolls, to that never-ending speculation and running commentary?
Well, I think it might, temporarily at least. I really cannot see that anyone watching her little speech, if you like to call it that, would not be full of sympathy and realise that we have to leave this woman alone. I really hope so. I truly, truly hope so. I mean, I don't read the trolls myself, and I'm absolutely certain that they don't. But they, as I said, they will be aware of what people are saying because they need to know. They're in a very public position, and I sincerely hope it will stop all the speculation. You can't be more honest than get out there, sit on a bench in your garden and tell the world what's happening to you. It's a very brave thing to do.
Do you think it would have been advisable to do that earlier, or do you think we're just simply not in a position to say she must do it when she feels right? And as you say, the kids breaking up for the Easter holidays seems like a good moment.
I really don't feel that I just don't know. I mean, she obviously felt when she had to do it, she had to do it. I don't think doing it any earlier would have made any difference. I think she was obviously put in a corner about this. She felt, look, this can't go on. I'm going to have to say something. But then you've got to think about it, and it's so very personal and very difficult. So I think probably the timing has been as right as they could make it.
She said in her statement, didn't she, that having William by her side has been a great source of comfort and reassurance, she said as well. From what you know of him, how do you think he will have taken this news, and how well will he have reacted and coped with the ramifications, especially with those 3 small children?
Well, I think that the Prince of Wales, William, is a very kind person. He's always been very, very close to Catherine and her family. They provided him perhaps with a family that he hasn't been able to have because of his mother's death. And he's very, very close to them all. And I think that they all appreciate how supportive he's been. I mean, Carol Middleton certainly has said that William has been extraordinarily supportive of everything that her daughter has done. And I think that he also has been very brave because he's the man of the family. He's the one that has to sort of be truly there for her. And now we understand why William hasn't been out and about as much as perhaps we would have liked to see him, because he's been dealing with this in the background. And there are people that have said that perhaps he's work shy, which of course is very unfair. But you know, he has always said, always from the very beginning, that his wife and his family are the most important thing. He's not king; he's Prince of Wales, and his father is very, very supportive of him, saying, "It's my family first," because he's got the rest of his life to put his country first. And for the moment, his father is doing that job.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the King. Do you have any insight into how his treatment is going? And of course, they will both be taking comfort from each other.
I don't have any insight into this very private matter of how the King's treatment is going. But, I mean, his wife, the Queen, has said that he's doing very well. He's strong, he's healthy, and he has been seen. He's not hiding away. He's just following doctors' orders up to a point and trying to keep away from the bigger picture of crowds. He's seeing people individually. And he's very positive, he's very strong. He's also, the King is very, has a big, big faith. And he places a lot of importance on religion and faith and healing. And so I think that he's probably handling it very well.
We always appreciate your insight. Thank you so much, Ingrid Stewart, Editor-in-Chief of Majesty magazine. I'm just going to bring in Laura Bundock, our royal correspondent, who has an update for us. Laura?
Yeah, coming from Buckingham Palace after the video and the announcement from the Princess of Wales, a Buckingham Palace spokesperson says, His Majesty, the King, is so proud of Catherine for her courage in speaking as she did. Following their time in hospital together, His Majesty has remained in the closest contact with his beloved daughter-in-law throughout the past weeks. Both their Majesties will continue to offer their love and support to the whole family through this difficult time.
OK, Laura, thank you very much for that update. We've got some more breaking news for you this evening, and at least 14 people are reported to have died after a shooting at a concert hall in Moscow.